Hey folks, Mike Naso here with the latest on the tropics. It is the second day, June 2nd, the second day of the Atlantic hurricane season. And when we take a look out there right now, we have our tropical depression in the Gulf of Mexico that has just been upgraded to the first named storm of the 2023 Atlantic hurricane season, Tropical Storm Arlene. Let's take a look at the latest. This is as of 1 p.m. Central Time. Tropical Storm Arlene was at 26.7 north, 86.2 west. It's moving very slowly towards the south at 5 miles per hour. Winds of 40 miles per hour measured by the Air Force. That's why they upgraded it from a tropical depression to a tropical storm and gave it a name. However, the likelihood of strengthening beyond this is very, very low. It looks like it's going to weaken into a depression and then eventually by Saturday be a remnant low dissipating before it even gets to western Cuba. So that's good news. If it can dissipate in this cone, it will never directly impact land, which is very rare for a system in the Gulf of Mexico. The wind field of tropical storm force winds, very, very tiny within that little circle there, and so if it weakens and those shrink and dissipate, it should never have tropical storm force winds on any land areas, not even the dry Tortugas or areas there of western Cuba. Here's the latest satellite imagery, and again, the center is right in here, but look at these clouds blowing. This wind shear is ridiculous, and so despite the wind shear, it was able to strengthen. However, it will soon be torn apart as the low drifts to the south. The thunderstorms here are blowing off to the northeast. That's a sign of high wind shear. Again, it's very early in the year. It's the second day of the hurricane season officially. And this happens all the time. We get a little measly tropical storm that wastes a name, and then we'll get into the heart of the season in August. There's another look at that wind shear. 30 knots of wind shear ripping right across Arlene. The fact that it was able to strengthen at all is a testament to the tenacity of that little low pressure, as well as the very warm waters there in the Gulf of Mexico. Speaking of warm waters, if you're along the coastline there in areas of Fort Myers or Sarasota, look out for some isolated thunderstorms throughout the early part of the weekend and through the weekend, as the system has the thunderstorms around the periphery of it, not directly, kind of directly associated with the system, but not a hurricane type rainfall impact. But when combined with the normal summertime storms, you can see them showing up there south of Kissimmee and definitely near Vero Beach and Fort Pierce. You guys are going to get in on the action as well. The brunt of the rain associated with Arlene is still offshore, and as it gets weaker and heads to the south, that should move away from the Florida coastline. Nevertheless, as I mentioned in the update on June 1st, there is a slight marginal flood risk, marginal throughout Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, especially for South Florida, and a lot of that is typical for this time of year, and also the rainfall here, most of it, like I said, staying offshore, but still some isolated amounts of 2 to 4 inches throughout South Florida. There is another look at Arlene, and again, this is the infrared satellite. The center is down here, and the very, very weak convection is all to the northeast, getting shredded. Look at those clouds, like I said, watch the clouds here. See them blowing right into Arlene? Very, very unfavorable, and so Arlene should meet a quick demise. But nevertheless, the first tropical storm of the year. Something to track, something to watch, something to remind us that hurricane season 2023 is now upon us. I'm Mike Naso with the latest on Tropical Storm Arlene over the eastern Gulf of Mexico. No watches and warnings out. It should drift south and dissipate over the open waters of the Gulf.